Ever wanted to spend some time on an island as a dinosaur, hunting other dinosaurs, or maybe hunting plants? What with the Isle? You could do exactly that. The Isle's been around on Steam since 2015, and it has been developed on and improved upon over those 5 years. However, recently, it's just received, or in the process of receiving, one of the biggest updates it's ever had, under the codename of Evrima. Evrima changes a lot about the game, but keeps the core the same. The gameplay loops are going to be the same, it's just they're going to be better. And I've had a little play on it, because it is available to play in beta, and it is very, 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 very fun. And it's very limited at the moment too, so the fact that it got that many varies before the fun is a really good sign. Before we do that though, we're going to talk a little bit about the context around the game, and we're going to hop in to some of the gameplay that I captured in the new patch, so here we go. The Isle is a game that has survived the test of time. Other games that had a similar context, like for example The Stomping Ground, which was a game originally I was really excited for that disappeared, and I paid some money and managed to get it back, but you know, it was still sad. Like I wasn't as annoyed as I was sad. It was such a cool concept, and the Isle kept that concept going in a different direction. I don't actually know if there's any crossover in developing team. There might be, I don't know. But the Isle's got a dedicated fan base, and there's loads of individual communities within that, and they kind of vary in sort of quality and what they focus on. That some of those communities can be a little bit, because some of them will charge you to play a certain species, which is doesn't make me feel great. But mostly they're not about that, and they're about sort of adding a little bit of structure to the game and avoiding unimmersive practices, I suppose. But then every now and again you'll get one server that has so many rules that each interaction is like a formula, and you've got to try and work out exactly how many T-Rexes can be friends when they're babies compared to how many T-Rexes can be friends when they're adults, and how many Triceratopses and Parasaurolophus you can have. Oh, so it can be frustrating, but it's to improve the health of the game and the experience of the game for players. It's also worth noting that the Isle has spawned a sister project due to drama that I don't understand and don't care to get into, because I don't care. But it has created another game, in a way, in the form of Path of Titans, which I'll probably look at some point soon too. I think having two games focusing on the same thing, it can only be good. It creates a bit of competition, so we should see big increases in quality of this type of very niche but very fun game. So the Isle serves as both a survivor of the genre and also sort of the one that we use to measure other dinosaur games by, Saurian, which is a single-player game which has apparently more sort of paleontological inspirations. I don't know if that's the correct word. Is often measured up against the Isle. The Stomping Grounds. Nope, not the Stomping Grounds. That one's dead. Ah, the pain. Path of Titans is also measured against the Isle. It seems to be the measuring stick right now for your dinosaur game. Oh, I'm just going to interrupt myself there. I forgot about Beasts of Bermuda. Beast of Bermuda is another game in the same vein. I did play it a long time ago. It didn't have the best time on it, but you know, things might have changed, and maybe I should review that again with a fresh pair of faces. Eyes, not faces. Eyes are on the face though. Cool. Let's get back to the main video. So how's the game doing critically at the moment? Well, today, taking a screenshot, on the Steam store page, we've got very positive. I know, the Steam store page isn't exactly the holy grail for like reviews and success and failure, but it is still a good indication of how people feel about the project. Not necessarily critically, but at least, you know, feel about it. So that's a good sign. So what is Evrima? Effectively, it's the Isle 1.5. People are calling it the Isle 2, but it has too much in common with the old version to really be considered a sequel. I get why people are saying that, but I feel like 1.5 is like a fair description of what's going on there. It's definitely a work in progress. You only have access right now on the public build in multiplayer. I think there is only multiplayer, don't know why I said that. It might be a Path of Titans thing. You can play as a Tontosaurus, which is a herbivore, or you can play as a Utahraptor, which is well, I mean, it's a Utahraptor, it's a big velociraptor, and it makes all the velociraptor sounds, and it's fantastic. Interestingly, Evrima only exists on one map. It only exists on a new map, and I've forgotten what it's called, but I'll put like a picture of whatever it's called up on the thing in the video. None of the old maps, the legacy maps, have been ported over. Whether they do or don't, we'll see. I've only played the new map a little bit, but it's very good. It's very, very immersive. The sound design is brilliant. My one criticism with there would be that like the sound can change very abruptly from the sound effects they put on like an open field to full on jungle in about 2 seconds. I think maybe a little audio blending there might make that just a little bit better. It's still really good. Like it's not a harsh criticism at all. In terms of geography, I've not explored the full map yet, but it seems to make sense. I like it. I like the swamp area, the mountains, the beaches are fantastic. It's great. I mean, the rock formation is a little suggestive, but apart from that, brilliant. Really like it. But it's not just a new map, as we discussed earlier. It's a revamp. Things have improved. Responsiveness is so much better. The way your dinosaur moves is totally different. These react a lot more to your inputs. Dinosaurs can turn on the spot without the use of a modifier key now, which is good. Before you had to hold Alt and you had to try and spin around, and it was all just very awkward. Dinosaurs have more than one attack as well now. Before they only had one, which would be like a headbutt or a bite, or I think that's pretty much it. Whereas now, let's have a look at the Tontosaurus. I've got a kind of slappy attack, there's a kick, and there's like a tail slam thing. I feel like a Monster Hunter character, and not like one of the hunters. I feel like a Monster Hunter monster as the Tontosaurus. I haven't tried the Utahraptor yet. I haven't died yet as the Tontosaurus, so I'll try that at some point. But even that just gives you more options. It makes you feel a little bit more connected to your character. There's less distance between you and your dinosaur. Also, the scent mechanics have changed. And there's this really tiny quality of life thing that absolutely it just made my day. And it's the smallest, stupidest thing. Before, if you were running and you wanted to smell, you'd have to fully stop running, then you'd have to press Q. And if like the animation overlapped, then it wouldn't register your Q and you have to press it again. Whereas now, if you hold it and as you're running you let go of run, you'll stop and you'll do the scent seamlessly. It's fantastic. That's a weird thing to get excited about, but it's just that nice little quality of life thing. It just makes it nicer to play. Also, the way scents are displayed now, instead of having these giant, weird, green, translucent holograms for, like, water and plants, you now get these particle effects. Again, weirdly Monster Hunter in a way, that sort of lead you towards what you're going towards. That was a terrible sentence, but you get what I mean. You get a nice little blue one for water, you get a nice little green one for edible plants, and you get a red one for dead things, and the footprints are yellow. There is sort of a scent hiding mechanic going on. If you find a puddle of mud, you can roll about in it and hide your footprints for a little bit. I like it. It's good. Maybe more puddles of mud though, because I've not found many. Another great little addition, especially for my herbivore brothers out there, is that let's say you can't find the special green bush of full stomachness. You can opt to graze on grass. This fills your stomach at a really, really low rate, to the point where I'm pretty sure I've seen it go up and down. Like, it goes down a little bit and then goes up a little bit, so it's much, much slower. But it does avoid those really frustrating times where you're like, I'm surrounded by vegetation, and I eat vegetation, but I am starving because I can't find the one bush that I really, really like. So that's nice. It's a nice way of offsetting some of the frustration that you could get in the other game. Water, on the other hand, there's no solution aside from find a water source, which is kind of fair enough, and it is very risky. Even on this server, which when I was playing and recording this was about 15 people, I heard a few people around some of the bodies of water, and they weren't friendly people. It was that horrible but also amazing Jurassic Park style Velociraptor bark that absolutely terrified me. I'm still not sure how representative sound effects are of where things are, if that makes sense. Like, I think that some of the sound effects might be a little bit louder than they're meant to be, so you get the impression that someone is closer to you than they're not. If they are accurate, then I've been very lucky. Very lucky. Like I said, I've not had a chance to play this on a full server yet, but I can't wait to do so. I can't wait to see more dinosaurs in. I can't wait to see more refinements in. This is probably the most promising dinosaur game, or game where you play as a dinosaur, that I think I've ever played. And I already really, really enjoyed the Isle. I put in a lot of time into that, and I'm looking forward to putting a lot of time into this. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this develops. But right now, I'd recommend you check it out. If you already own the Isle, and let's say you played your fill of version 1, I'd recommend you opt into the beta and just try this out, have a little go, see how it's evolving, see what you think about it, and maybe there's plenty of discussions on Reddit, on the Steam forums, on Discord, where people are sharing their experiences and their feedback, and I'd recommend you do that. This seems to be a fairly responsive development team, so that, it can't hurt. Who knows? You might even enjoy yourself.